This is a special segment of the John Fredericks Radio Show with on-the-scene coverage of the U.S.-Qatar Business Council, recorded live in Miami, Florida, April 6, 2018. We join John now in his conversations with the Qatar Minister of Economy and Commerce.
We're live in Miami. We're with His Excellency Sheikh Ahmed bin Jassim bin Mohamed al-Thani. He is the Minister of Economy and Commerce for the country of Qatar. Now, Your Excellency, can you tell our U.S. audience about the significant investment Qatar is making in the U.S. and the over 1 million jobs for American workers that your country has helped to create?
I just want to talk to you about some of the statistics. Just purchase an order now. Qatar Airways is buying 332 aircraft from United States, adding $92 billion in U.S. economy, plus other purchases like military and others, and also add up to this all the trades between Qatar and United States. This directly added to around $146 billion, which directly creating around 1 million job in the United States, and 1 million job mean 1 million family will get benefit from that. And this is only the trade. This is only the purchase that Qatar purchased from United States. I'm not talking about the investment. So Qatar Investment Authority, our sovereign fund, pledged or committed to $45 billion investment in different sectors here in the United States. $10 billion out will be dedicated to invest in the infrastructure, to develop the infrastructure jointly with different states around the United States. This also will create a lot of job here in the United States. We believe in the United States economy. I think it's growing, the ingenuity of the people here, and we'd like to build on that. And now this roadshow objective is to go beyond the states that we use to invest in, like New York and California and Washington and others. So we want to reach out for other states, and we are starting with Florida here in Miami. And we have a very, very positive feedback from the companies here and the private sector. Mm-hmm. We were busy talking to them and explaining to them the opportunity and the investment, the joint investment opportunity that we can do together. But also we are coming with another message that the investment in Qatar is hugely beneficiary for the companies who are looking to expand their business in that region, in the Middle East region. And Qatar can be a hub or can be a base for their investment. And Qatar is not new for United States companies. We have 650 U.S. companies now operating in Qatar. 650, yes. And 117 companies 100% owned by a U.S. citizen. And this is just the proof that the Qatar economy is very interesting. And by the way, those companies, some of them are from the 70s operating there. And the benefit that companies can get from investing in Qatar is that they can choose between investing in the free zone, mm-hmm. which they pay no tax, and also or decide to serve the local market, the Qataris market. And also the companies in the local market can benefit from a tax holiday up to 10 years renewable. Add to that all the machinery and the raw material imported to build or to operate the factory will be exempt from custom duty for up to 13 years. All this add up to will result in a very competitive market for U.S. company to operate in and serve that the region there. That still need a lot of products and maybe it is very expensive to ship from the United States some of the goods to there. The best idea is to invest there for the region. The message we're passing here to the private sector that they are welcome to come to Doha to ask questions, and we are ready to take them through all our process and to help them to start up their company there. As a matter of fact, in the last few years, we reviewed all our investment and commercial laws to make it up to the standard and the best practice to help attract foreign direct investment. As of today, American companies invested $26 billion in Qatar economy.
$26 billion.
$26 billion. And if I can mention, one of the biggest are ExxonMobil. ExxonMobil, around 25% plus minus of their income come from only one state, one country, and it is the state of Qatar. So the relationship between, this is only an example, but the relationship between Qatar and the major corporation here in the United States, like ExxonMobil, ConocoPhillips, Raytheon, is historical, and we are building on that relationship for more and more venture to come.
We're live in Miami. We're with His Excellency Sheikh Ahmed bin Jassim bin Mohamed al-Thani. He is the Minister of Economy and Commerce for the country of Qatar. Now, His Excellency, if I can ask you this, it's interesting, a lot of why you're getting American businesses to come to Qatar, one of the reasons is you understand how low taxes attract companies in, which is exactly what the president is trying to do. That's why the U.S. economy, we believe, is so strong, because the president cut these taxes. How many Americans actually are working now in Qatar? 17. I heard the number 17,000. Is that accurate?
There are 15,000 Americans 15,000 working now in Qatar. 5,000 of them working directly in the private sector. In fact, a lot of businesses, as I mentioned, from United States, they were there for a long time. They live there, they and their families and their kids, and from what we know is they are very happy to live there. Just to mention one international number that announced that Qatar considered the best, the safest, ranked number one in the safest country to do business. And talking about safest, Qatar is always in the top tier of the safest country to live in. So there are a lot of reason why companies who operate, who want to invest in Qatar, can come and invest there. You mentioned low tax. I mentioned no tax.
No tax.
In Qatar, if you are in a free zone, you pay no tax.
Now, what His Excellency, what signifies a tax-free zone? How do you determine that?
A free zone is mainly target the business who want to come and invest in Qatar, to target the region, to export to the region, which is hundreds of millions of people living there, underserved, and there are a lot of opportunities.
In the entire region.
In an entire region. That's the main objective. And the free zone is strategically located, one near the newly opened port. Is one of the most sophisticated,
the big one biggest in the west,
port.
Right?
Yeah, it is a big port. It is Ahmed port. It is one of the biggest in the Middle East. Up to 7.5 million container per year, the capacity, and expandable to even more. This is only one port of many ports we have, in Qatar, but this is the biggest. The free zone is located just near the port, and the other free zone is located near the airport for businesses who are mainly target the aviation sector or using the aviation as a transport. So this is a no tax zone, but if you want to operate inside Doha and decide if it is a strategic company that we would like to attract, we can offer up to 10 years tax holiday, just to help the businesses start and sell around the region.
So, Your Excellency, for the companies that are located in Qatar, Doha right now, how are they affected by the blockade of the Gang of Four? Are they exempt from that, or are they able to ship their products to Saudi Arabia, UAE, Egypt, and Bahrain? Are they part of the siege?
the companies, all the foreign companies and the local companies who operate in Qatar. At the start of the blockade, there was some interruption because we used to bring a lot of material, building material, and a lot of consumer good, supply food, either from those countries or through those countries, like Jebel Ali. But after the blockade, this route of supply has been interrupted, in fact, has been stopped. But the good news that we have a plan in place, a contingency plan, an emergency plan. We activated immediately, and it was very efficient. There was no short of supply to the market from consumer good, from food, because we opened a new market, we opened new routes to other countries around the world. At the end of the day, the world is not only those 4 countries, so the world is very wide open, right. And we are trading with more partners now around the world. We have a new trade partner that we are not used to trade with, and we are getting not only enough supply but higher quality supply, and this is
at lower cost.
At lower cost, if you talk about cost, the general inflation is not different than the year before. So it was a normal inflation around 2%. So there was no inflation thanks to quick act that government take and policies to just open new market, open new routes, and ensure the supply of consumer good and food. And not only this, the building material was a key, because you remember we are in the middle of construction, huge construction project in our highways, and the rails, the metro that we are building, the stadium, the expansion in the airport, preparing for 2022 World Cup, and other projects in the infrastructure projects. So we need a lot of supply, material supply. So we shifted, we changed the source of buying this material. For example, we used to buy from Saudi Arabia. Now we are buying from Turkey and from other around the region. Yeah, and even if you look at the numbers with those countries, some of the countries, the trade with those countries, 400% increase, so this is what we did. And there was not much of an effect after a while, just after a week or so, everything was stable and the business was moving as usual. But to give you the numbers, that the indicators that talk about Qatar economy after the blockade, the 2017, most of the 2017 is start from 5th of June until the end of 2017, we were under blockade. But we closed 2017 with a growth better than expected. Let me compare it to 2016. The total export of Qatar increased by 19%. Compared to 2016. 2017 total trade increased by 16% compared to 2016. The total surplus increased by 40% in 2000.
Trade surplus.
Surplus in our favor.
Your favor.
In our favor. Increased by 40% in 2017 compared to 2016. And the World Bank just announced that Qatar will have the highest growth in the region compared to the blockade country and the other in the region. So we will have the highest growth expected. Thanks to the wise policy that adapted immediately by the government, we are more open now to businesses. In fact, we saw after the blockade more companies, historical record of company registering to do business in Qatar that not been seen, we didn't see it before.
As a result of the blockade.
As a result of the blockade, because all the private sector geared toward more investment internally. We become more economically independent. We become more economically strong, and we become more open to foreign direct investment, and we saw the result on the indicator.
Statistics that you've laid out, really incredible. And is it safe to say, Your Excellency, from an economic standpoint, notwithstanding the humanitarian issues that go with the blockade, with the embargo, but is it fair to say now, almost 1 year later, that the blockade of the Gang of Four has failed economically. Is that fair to say?
Economically, is definitely fair. I mean, the number is talking.
Complete disaster for them.
Listen,
actually, it made you stronger, more independent.
It made
costs came down.
Absolutely. You know, we become more independent. We become more economically stronger, and we are not depending on other country anymore. And we are, as I said, we become even more open for businesses all around the world. And the proof of the numbers that I just mentioned to you about the performance of Qatar economy and the forecast of Qatar economy to being the biggest, the highest growth in the region expected by the World Bank in 2018. But the negative side of the blockade is not the economic side. We overcome this problem and we can live forever without those countries. But the humanitarian side, you know, they separated families from each other. As you know, the region there are very well connected. You are talking about Florida with its neighboring state. You know, the families are connected. There are brothers living in one country and there are other brothers or maybe families or parents living in the neighboring country. Those has been separated apart. And there are now 13,000 filed proved case at a human rights organization that they are following in this issue. On the other hand, look at what the blockade countries did for the international companies. For example, American company who have a logistic zone or a manufacturing in one of this blockade country, like Jebel Ali, they are banned from exporting to Qatar. They said, wait a minute, guys, we are not signing to business and you taking me to your political issue. I'm here to serve the region. They said, no, you are blocked from exporting to Qatar. They interrupted their businesses to export to Qatar. On the other hand, those companies, they are starting to export to us from other region around the world. We're used to get supply from those companies from other regions around the world. They've been interrupted. The other thing is companies who are, private sector who own and businessmen who own companies in those countries, especially in Jebel Ali and Dubai, has been blocked from going there and managing their company. And their financing or credit with the banks, the local bank, has been stopped, aiming to bankrupt them. This is extremely a bad signal for private sector and for capital inflow to those countries. Jebel Ali always says we are the free zone, we are a free trade, we are open for business, but everybody, the whole world, saw that they get affected by the political decision of their leaders, and they can stop their businesses. At the start of the blockade, 5,000 containers contain properties owned by companies operating in Qatar has been blocked in Jebel Ali, and it's illegally blocked. And it is owned by companies operate in Qatar. Now, what this tells you about the reliability of doing business in Jebel Ali? None. You know, you can wake up early morning and some official will say you cannot export to that region, you cannot do trade with this country. This is not good for business. On the other hand, we have many companies from the blockade country who operate and have a contract in Doha doing business. We cancel no one. We continue, we respected their contract, despite that their country asked them to go back to their country to stop their business. We said, it's all up to you. You don't have to stop. You can continue your project. And all of them did continue to do business there in Qatar. They get their payments. No one get affected. This is number one. We are exporting gas to United Arab Emirates, one of the blockade country.
And you're still letting gas go.
And let me tell you this. This gas is responsible for 40% of United Arab Emirates electricity, 80% of Dubai electricity. Stop this gas will devastate their economy. We didn't. Even in the contract, give us the right to stop the export of the gas to United Arab Emirates, because we are under force majeure, and one of the conditions of the force majeure contractually it's written there, a blockade. If there is a blockade, it's a force majeure. Force majeure means you can close the valve and there is no liability.
So you could have just shut the pipeline.
We could have shut the pipeline contractually. We have contractually the right. But His Highness the Emir said, no, we will not do it. There are human living there, civilian living there. They have nothing to do with this business, and they deserve to get this gas. We respected all our contract, 100% of our contract we respected. They took our containers, stopped businesses from exporting to Qatar, and tried to force the Qataris company who are investing there to lose money by taking all this measure. No one can go there. They don't renew the visas. They stop the credit with the banks. You know, all this barbaric act for doing business with those companies. What we are trying to do, and what the message we are taking to the world is the following: we're a reliable country to do business with. If you sign a contract, we respect it to the end, no matter who you are. On the other hand, the fact says the other country are not reliable to do business with. Don't take only my word for it, take the facts at what happened on the ground.
Just take the facts.
Just take the facts. To ask about the fact, what happened to those companies who are operating, they stopped company who have, as I said, logistics zone to export. They wake up early morning and said, you don't export to Qatar. So we didn't sign in for that. I said, sorry, you don't export for Qatar.
Well, the fact that His Highness the Emir didn't cut the pipeline flow of natural gas off to the UAE, to the Emirates, because it would have caused them a humanitarian crisis. And as you pointed out, your government could have easily done that and been within their legal rights.
Absolutely.
So again, Qatar doing the right thing in the face of this gang of four insane blockade that there's basically no end in sight, and except for the humanitarian issues and families that have been split up, and students that can't go back, and businesses that can't be run. As far as the economy is concerned, it's completely backfired. And it's a wonderment to us how long it's going to go on before they finally realize that it's not meeting its objectives, and that they should just give it up.
You know, this is a question need to be asked.
We need to ask them that, right?
We need to ask them, because we said from beginning we are ready for dialogue. You know, we have nothing to hide. We can put everything in the table, but they don't want to talk. If you don't want to talk, that means you don't have anything to talk about. You know, you have no reason to do what you are doing.
We're on a special edition of the John Fredericks Radio Network. We are live in Miami. We are covering the Qatar U.S. Business Conference, and we've only got a couple more minutes. We're with His Excellency Sheikh Ahmed bin Jassim bin Mohamed al-Thani, and he is the Qatar Minister of Economy and Commerce, and he's here in the United States on a trade, economy, investment delegation, a tour around the United States in order to attract investment back into his country, and also Qatar continuing to invest in the United States and creating over 1 million jobs so far. I know we're getting short on time. You have another meeting, but I did want to get to this, Your Excellency. His Highness the Emir al-Thani coming to the White House on Tuesday. I'll be there covering it, and hopefully I'll get to ask a question. Sometimes I do. What do you want to see occur in this dialogue, in this opportunity with His Highness the Emir coming to the White House, speaking to President Trump at this critical time? What is the objective? What does your government want to get out of that time in the White House?
You know, I'm sure there will be a political and security cooperation objective in the agenda, and the leaders will talk about it, I am sure, in detail at that meeting. But we always, goes with this agenda is the economic cooperation and investment agenda. It's always important for us. As I said, United States is one of the biggest economic partner with Qatar. Is very historical for us, very important for us. And that's why the roadshow, the economic roadshow that will go all around the United States, in fact in 2 phases, because it will take a long time to do it, and we need to connect to the business community more and more. You know, our commitment to the United States to invest and to trade and to do business and to tourism, and also students. We have 1,200 students who study here in the United States. We spend more than $200 million every year in the healthcare here, treating some of our patients. The relationship even go beyond investment and trade, and we always we said we do share the gain, but we also share the pain whenever it happens. And I give you example, Hurricane Katrina, when it hit and destroy many zones or communities there, Qatar contributed directly $100 million to rebuild the community and the housing and some of the universities there in Louisiana to make sure that the people get back on their feet. We spend it wisely. We built houses, we built universities and many other things, and we saw the positive result in the community there, and we are very happy with the result. And also the latest Hurricane Harvey, who hit also Texas, we contributed $30 million to help the people there and the community to get back in their feet. So when we go to invest and share the gain with the country, we always be there for the people. We always understand our social responsibility, our commitment to the people, and we demonstrated this many times. Even our private sector, like one of our private sector who invest here in the hotels business, and they, for example, in Miami here, they own the private sector, the company called the Faisal Company. They own the San Regis Miami and the W Miami, I think, and many hotels all around the country. They also contributed to rehabilitate or retrain the ex-convicts and get them back to the society.
Get them back jobs.
Get them back jobs.
So they don't go back to jail.
They go back to jail. And
very big in the United States.
Yes.
Very important.
Yeah, that's what he was doing for the community, trying to help as he's investing here. And we will continue this commitment. What I want to say is we are committed to this economic relation. We are committed to connect to the United States, to not only the officials, but also the business community and the people of the United States at all levels.
Well, your passion and enthusiasm is unmatched in anybody that I've met, and I really appreciate the time. This is a special edition of the John Fredericks Radio Network live in Miami, covering the very expansive Qatar-U.S. Business Conference here in Miami, and it's going to be continuing on throughout the United States. And we have had the honor to be with His Excellency Sheikh Ahmed bin Jassim bin Mohamed al-Thani. He is and that's real families getting real paychecks for real Americans, and we appreciate all you've done, and we look forward to continuing to cover your tour through the United States.
Thank you very much. Thank you for this.
Your Excellency, thank you for having us. This is the John Fredericks Radio Network. We're live. We're in Miami, trucking the truth, bringing you the facts. Again, let me leave you with this. The economic blockade, the siege of the Gang of Four in the Gulf economically has been an unmitigated disaster for them, and it has actually benefited the government of Qatar and its people. When I was in Doha a few weeks ago, people were telling me that they have better choices on the store shelves and lower prices. That's what the blockade has done. So the government of Qatar has certainly gotten through that, and it's a complete disaster for the Gang of Four. I mean, that's just the facts. I can't make this stuff up. You're on the John Fredericks Radio Network. We'll be right back. Stay with us.